Welcome to the Backpacking Blunders podcast, brought to you by Enlightened Equipment. Avoid an overweight pack blunder by getting the best ultralight gear on the market at enlightenedequipment.com. With me today is a man who crushes miles and rarely makes mistakes, Brad Crow Felton. How's it going today, sir?
I'm good, but I need to get off this though because I always make mistakes.
Always.
Yeah.
You crush miles though, right? You're willing to own that?
I'm not really that crushing anymore, Eddie. I'm getting old, but yeah.
I don't believe that. I think you're being humble, but we're gonna find out because I'm really excited. So we got the 8 worst backpacking blunders experts such as yourself have made, and I've actually I kind of dug into this a little bit. I tried to find out some of the more famous backpackers, like what blunders they'd made or what they'd admitted to there. So I got a couple from some, like, I don't know if you call it famous backpackers, but that's on the list too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But before we get to that, I liked your YouTube channel and you got some fun stuff on there, but you put out a video recently that kind of caught me by surprise. It was on your new favorite water bottle.
Yeah.
And it got almost 6,000 views so far. Like,
yeah.
Why does a water bottle video become so popular?
I don't know, because that was just like, oh, by the way, I think I'll just do this video on this water bottle because I was biding time waiting for some people. And I thought, I'll just sit out here at the trailhead and I'll do this video because I just got this thing. I just bought it.
Okay.
And then when you said, hey, it's got a lot of views, I didn't even know how many views I really didn't. I went back and I was like, holy cow, it did get some views. So that's cool. That's great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You don't check your stats, I guess, or not obsessively.
I really don't. In fact, that video was just an afterthought. And so I never really thought it would get any views.
Okay.
It's just something like a filler video, but I do like the water bottle. So yeah.
Okay. What's the water bottle that everybody is interested in here? What's it called?
It's this. It's called the Squawk water bottle. I mean, they make other stuff. They make like a hoodie and different things. This little company, I can't remember where they're from.
Hoodies and water bottles, huh?
Yeah. And so I just like it because it's like a tall boy, I guess you could call it. So it's thin, and so it fits in your side pocket really easily. And it's a harder plastic, which I like, and it has the wide opening.
Okay.
So
you're spilling yourself more frequently, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
But I like it for that, and that it's, BPA free or whatever that's supposed to mean. So hopefully it's not leaching plastics in my system.
Yeah. For sure. So, that's the knock on the smart water bottles, or like the disposable ones. So for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I had a Nalgene out like around my house today. My daughter was asking me like, hey, so do you like Nalgene bottles? I was like, that's a complicated question.
Yeah.
Not usually, but I typically spill on myself and literally had like a water spot on my shirt. So that's, I'm just not good with them. But anyway, congrats on the video. So, okay. That was not a backpacking blunder. I just found it very interesting. But our Bible verse of the episode is James 3:2. For we all stumble in many ways. So we're not perfect. Okay. As the crow flies, what's the biggest mistake you've made just in life this year? Not specific to backpacking. Like,
in life?
In life. Like a life blunder. What you got? We stumble in many ways. Yeah.
I think it's that I got a year older. No, I don't know.
Dang it.
Yeah. Yeah, that really stinks.
Okay.
I mean, this year has gone pretty good. I haven't made a whole bunch of blunders.
Okay.
I did let's see. What did I do? Well, I retired. So I don't know if that's
you didn't. You were talking about this. It's fake retirement. When you retire, that means like you're retired, like you're not working. Are you still working?
I'm still working. So maybe that's the blunder, is that I didn't make enough money to really retire.
Fake retirement. Fake retirement. Yeah. You're also like I feel like you're my age. Like you're way too young to retire. So I don't know what plan you got going there, but yeah, you're still. So what is you were at the federal level. Now you're at the state level as an attorney, right?
Yeah. They offered, when Trump did all that Doge stuff, they offered an early retirement for people that were over 50, and there's no like penalty. So I was like, and they hadn't offered that in 20 years. So I was like, I'll just take it and go do, work somewhere else. So so far it's worked out, but we'll see long term. Who knows? I mean, we'll see.
Was one of the considerations when you're like, I'll just work somewhere else, were you like, maybe I'll make YouTube full time?
No, my channel's not that big.
Okay. So, not yet. Not yet. After this episode will be.
Oh yeah, this is gonna push it over the edge.
That's right.
1 million subscribers.
1 million. Yeah, we can bring it. Okay. All right. So a couple like full disclosures about this episode. Okay, so we make fun of our buddies, or we'd feel bad making like major errors when we go backpacking. But the ones that we've got are like the ones we're talking about are made by people like you and me. We've been backpacking for a long time. We're talking about ones that are made by experts. And so the hope is not just to point out like our errors and our ways, which is kind of fun to talk about, but also to make everybody else feel better about it's okay to make mistakes out there. If you're encountering backpackers and they're telling you how they're getting it right 100% of the time, their backpacking trips are probably really boring and they're probably lying anyways. So just full disclosure.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All the stuff that's not on YouTube is all the mistakes. Yeah. We're trying to make it look pretty, but it's not usually.
Well, there's the people that do, they make the videos, make it look epic. But I find, the more interesting things are just, I don't know, the authentic parts, right? Where you see people struggling or whatever. We'll get to it. So, all right, what's number one on your list? A blunder you've made or experts have made that, whatever you want to talk about.
So are we going like the worst to, or are we doing it or in any random order? Like this, the worst?
You can go from the least aggressive to the worst if you want to. This is opinion based because one that you think is like pretty minor, I might think is a major one, right?
Okay. Well, the first one that comes to mind was a trip to Wyoming, did the Wind River Range.
Oh yeah.
And my buddy Cash Max kind of guided me. And so I couldn't take a bear canister on the plane. So he borrowed one from somebody and he gave it to me when I got out there. Somewhere along the way, the safety pin had fallen out. And so we're riding, if you know that road that goes out to the Green River area.
Yeah.
It's just like this. I mean, you're just
bumpy.
like,
yeah.
Bumpy. And so I heard like a noise and I reached back to see what it was. And my backpack had leaned up against another backpack and it was just spraying bear spray in this little SUV.
Oh my goodness.
So I guess I should have made sure the safety was there. But yeah.
Okay, so when you talk about the pin, you're talking about like the pin on the bear spray can, not like the bear canister for food storage, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, bear spray. Yeah, the bear spray canister. Okay. So the little safety pin that you pull and then you can, so it had somehow loosened out. And then when it fell, my backpack fell against another one. Yeah. It just started spraying. And you know what? I realized like it doesn't hit immediately the whole stinging stuff. It takes a few minutes to kind of get out there. Well, I had put my hand on it, which caused a domino effect of issues to come. First, it was everybody in the car was just, eyes, everything was burning. Right. And then anything that you touched started burning after a few minutes. Okay. And the worst part of it was I went down to the creek and thought I'd gotten everything off my hands. And then I had to go to the restroom, number one. And that was even more of a burning sensation. Yeah, it was really rough. So,
dang, man.
We had to go. We went back to a grocery store and got like Dawn. We Googled it. Right. Maybe Dawn degreaser would get it out and stuff. Well, the rest of the trip was always the smell of bear spray and still the stinging sensation. In fact, when I changed my contact, burning in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
Even a few days later when I thought I'd gotten everything off. So yeah, that's probably my biggest blunder ever, I think.
Yeah, that's not your least aggressive one. That's the biggie, right?
Oh yeah. Biggie. Wait, yeah. Whoops, I meant I was going from worst to least.
Okay.
I don't know, baby.
I think that there's a double blunder in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where I get judgmental right here because I don't think you need to bring bear spray to the Wind River Range.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. Yeah. Well, I've been there, 3 times now. And all the intel I've gotten is like, well, technically the range touches areas that so grizzlies could come there, but we haven't seen a grizzly in the range in like X amount, it's like decades or something like that.
Yeah,
So
we never saw one either. So
right.
I guess I was just like, I didn't know. I mean, I'm just from Alabama, and I just thought, and so we had it, and I thought, well, that's at least I'll be nice. If something does come up on us, we can spray it. Well, I
Yeah.
ended up spraying myself.
It'd be nice if it's like a raccoon. At least we can
Yeah.
hose that down. Oh my gosh, that's an epic story. So okay, I have in that same area in the Wind River Range, we actually encountered somebody who was reaching back for the bear spray. I don't know why. Are they reaching for their water bottle, but they got the wrong side? And they grabbed their bear spray and they look back and they sprayed themselves in the face. And so
Oh,
they had to like put their face underwater, just like constantly dunking themselves. And then I've heard of people, where they don't like, the kind of ignorant tourists don't even know what the bear spray is. They just think if it's like sunblock, but for bear spray, so you just spray yourselves and it
oh
keeps the bears
no.
away. I've heard that happening. I think bear spray is like highly dangerous, so I don't bring it unless I 100% have to. But other thing too is I thought that once it was sprayed inside a vehicle, like it's very difficult to ride in that vehicle. Is that correct?
It was, and we had to. I mean, we were out kind of in the middle of nowhere. We had to finish, and it was my buddy's mom that took us out there. She agreed to take us. We had already taken the other vehicle to the other side of the range, like 90 miles away or whatever. And so, unfortunately, I think she just had to ride it out, leaving, going back. So
right. Okay. Glad you still did the trip though. Like that's super impressed that you made it. You're like, I don't mind smelling bear spray. Like my nose hairs are burned from all the pepper. We're just gonna push through.
No, it was fine. I mean,
Okay.
after a couple of days, at least it goes down in intensity.
Yeah.
But I can still every once in a while grab my pack and put my hand down there and say, I still have this faint smell of bear spray.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a doozy myself. I'm gonna save mine because that's gonna be a hard one to follow up on. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with I try to pick on some ones that so like yours is pretty specific. I bet other people have made the kind of bear spray errors. Maybe not exactly the same way, but maybe similar to that.
Yeah.
I try to pick on things that people might actually do, whether it's unintentionally or they're not as organized or whatever. And so the one thing that I see a lot is people losing gear on the trail. So it's not that they're ditching gear on the trail. They're actually, it's hanging off their pack. Maybe the drawstring catches a branch or whatever. I was just near the Colorado Trail a couple weeks ago and I found a sit pad on the trail that was like in a stuff sack. And I found a sleeping bag on the trail last week. I found all sorts of eating utensils, just things that you wouldn't normally see just like ditch, but just people are losing things on the trail because they're not securing it to their pack correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So one time my buddy Derek, he was responsible for the permit and I literally saw him. We started the hike. We're like 2 steps into the hike and I happened to be behind him. I just see the permit like flutter out of his pack. It's a Yosemite permit. So likely it'll get checked and we had to have it. And thankfully I was behind him, but just, you never know. So you just got to secure your stuff. Have you had this issue before?
Yeah. I've left some things like the parking permit that I'm supposed to put on my dash.
Right.
I found it in my pack later. I didn't put it on the dash and then got a ticket. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
did you dispute that?
I can't remember. Hope I paid it. Hope it's not still outstanding.
Warrant for me. Because here's the thing, I'm really nervous about putting the permits on my dash. Like, hey, FYI, I'm gonna be gone for 3 days. So if you want to pillage my car while I'm gone, you got notice that I'm not gonna be coming back anytime soon.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does invitation here. Take my stuff.
Right. So, okay. So that's my number one. All right, number two, what you got?
Number two is sort of related to what I say when I touch my contacts. So one trip I was doing several days, 4 or 5 days with some guys, and at the trailhead, I touched my contact. It ripped and fell out. And I said, it's no big deal. When we take a break or something, I'll put my other contact in. And I mean, this everything aligned like the perfect storm. I was hiking and got hit by a branch a few miles in, and my other contact came out. And I said, hey guys, I got to stop because I don't have any contacts in. I have 8.50. I'm just about legally blind. I can't see more than like this far. So I realized I didn't have my contacts. I didn't have any backup contacts.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
the rest of the trip, everybody got to see these beautiful views and these wonderful vistas and stuff. And I'm like, I can see my hand. I don't know what's out there. So yeah.
Wait a second. So you don't bring like a backup pair of glasses then? That's not.
Well, my glasses are so thick. I look like some sort of like Waldo character, you know, they're so thick.
Yeah.
And so I usually don't bring glasses, and sometimes I do. I'll remember to put them in, but I'm so conscious of them, self-conscious of so thick. So I'm always got contacts in.
Okay.
And just a perfect storm. I mean, like both contacts gone, and I usually have like 5 or 6 backups, and I reached in, didn't have them. So
okay.
I didn't see anything on the trip. I mean, I had to focus on my hearing, birds and stuff like that.
But you still made the trip. You still finished the trail.
I still finished. I had to put my hand on somebody's shoulder and they led me around like a blind man. I mean, not really, but it was close to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your first 2 are like major disaster on the way or towards the beginning, but the perseverance to push through. That's the kind of person you want to go backpack with right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll piggyback on that one because over the years we've had, like you mentioned the contacts, we've had people forget all sorts of stuff. And so you'd think that with a gear list that you can literally kind of check off as you go, you're less likely to forget stuff. But we've had people forget sleeping bags, sleeping pads, smaller things like pillows, or the most common one I think is like the spoon. That's the one that I hate having to lend out. And so I think that no matter how organized you've gotten over the years, there's always somebody forgetting something. And so if you forget something on the trail, like that's kind of part of the challenge. You got to figure out, especially like a sleeping bag, you got to figure out a way to overcome that, right? Like how do you stay warm at night, especially if it's a cold night? So is contacts the worst thing you've forgotten, you think?
Yes. Yeah, that was
really.
Yeah, contact was the worst thing. I have forgotten toilet paper before, but I was with somebody who's like, you know, master Boy Scout, so he had like double amount, so I was able to get that.
Okay.
But you know, you can always go to leaves, I guess.
Yeah, there's other alternatives out there for sure. Okay, so that was that was a shared one right there. What's next on your list?
Oh, next on my list. So let's see what I had. So in Utah, this is like a real blunder. I had forgotten to go number 2 at the campsite that morning. And this was, we were going on the what is it called? The Uinta Highland Trail.
Okay.
And so we were making the ascent up to Kings Peak, you know, in Utah. And so that basin is just open. There's no trees. And there's just several rock cairns. Cairns. And so I was going, and all of a sudden, you know, nature hit me. I had to go number 2. And I looked around and like, there was nothing to hide behind. And
there's your pack.
There's my pack. And so I just took refuge behind a cairn. And
behind a place people are probably going, right? They're going to be walking through there.
And I looked up, and along the ridge of Kings Peak going up, people were just looking down at me. They could see kind of half my body behind the cairn. And you know, you can't dig a hole, so it was just, I built a second cairn out there.
And just in case you're not sure where you're going, we got 2 cairns right here.
One's a little stinky.
Just don't walk on it.
Leave that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I like that you said you forgot to go. Like, how do you, either you got to go or you don't have to go, right? How do you forget to go?
I think as I've gotten over 50, like, you know, I'm just not really sure. And so
like maybe I have to go. I'll hold off.
I'll hold off.
Probably trees up there.
Yeah. And so I didn't know the area. So it was just like vastness of nothing. There was nothing, no trees, you know?
Right.
So that was my blunder.
I've had that before where I've kind of poked fun at my buddy Derek about this, but yeah, we were hiking up in Glacier National Park, and I had to go, and we were hiking up on the pass. So we had gotten above tree line, but the trail was going to this like kind of ledge overlook. And I was like, well, once you get onto that ledge, then you can't see me unless you're like intentional about it, unless you go back and look. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop. I'm going to wait till you guys get up to the ledge and then I'm going to go to the bathroom. You guys keep hiking. And so sure enough, I start going to the bathroom and then all 3 guys walk towards the ledge and look over, staring down at me. And I was like,
you're just like,
yeah.
Nice.
I hated that.
A view to remember.
That's right. All right. Next one I got, this one's happened to me multiple times. This is happening more times than I feel like I want to admit, but I think this has happened to everybody at some point. And so, you got a sleeping pad, you tested it out. It's good to go. You're out there one of the nights and you wake up in the middle of the night and it's deflated.
Deflated. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I don't know what happened. There's nothing sharp in the tent. There's nothing sharp underneath the tent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how some of these things deflate. I don't know how some of these things get punctures.
Yeah.
I'm super careful with mine and it just, it just deflates. And so you're not going to typically find that pinhole prick in the middle of the night unless you're really like hyper aggressive about it. Like you want to take your headlamp out to like a lake or a stream and find, the bubbles coming out, which
in the middle of the night. Yeah.
I don't want it in the middle of the night. Yeah. I'm sure there's people that would do that, but most of them have these like the built-in patch kits with the stuff sacks. And so you can do that the next day, but it's not a fun night that night.
Yeah, no, especially if it's cold, then you're just like succumbing to the coldness of the ground. But that's got to be a pretty common one. I think everybody has woken up and their sleeping pad is somewhat deflated or, and then the rest of the trip, you're like, now what am I going to do?
Right. I mean, you can, in the field, you can fix it. It's just not typically that night. But the problem is that I don't really know what the solution for this is. It's kind of a blunder, but I typically will test my pad at home. Like, and I'll even put like heavy things on it to kind of simulate my body and like let it sit there for hours. And then you take it out and then something happens. I don't know what the deal is. So I don't know. How would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, you got the kid. I'll just wait till the next day and tell everybody, look, I got to find this patch. I mean, that one night you're just going to be uncomfortable, miserable. Yeah.
Right. So it's like kind of a blunder, but kind of it just happens. So
yeah, it happens.
Happens to the best of us. All right. All right. What's your last one? Last mistake.
Blunder. Okay. My last one. And this is the one, the people that hike with me, we talk about this story all the time. So when it was a long time ago, maybe 18 years ago, we were hiking in the Sipsey and there was this weird dude that was kind of talking to us and he looked like he was going the same way. We thought he was kind of creepy. Okay. And then, he leaves. And that night, I guess it kind of got to me subconsciously. So I had this night terror and I was in my hammock and I got up and was like, I guess I thought I saw somebody coming at me. I had a nightmare.
Okay.
And I'm assuming, I don't know exactly why I had the night terror, but I woke up and was screaming and standing by the fire and screaming like, everybody come out here. There's a guy in the
You're waking everybody else up.
I woke everybody up and none of them came out of their tent, which tells me, are they really my friends? But they're all like,
go back to bed.
So the next morning was a very awkward breakfast at the fire so I don't know if that's really a blunder, but it did make for a very uncomfortable next morning for me because I'd had this crazy night terror and I looked kind of crazy myself, I guess. I don't know.
That's I would count that as a blunder, but because you're waking everybody up, right? And you're sort of needlessly waking everybody up because whatever you're seeing is not real. So just
you're in, I mean, everybody's had like these, you're at camp or something. You're like, what was that? What's
that sound?
What's that noise? And, I woke it up several times like, oh gosh, what is this? Well, this was like a full-fledged, I thought somebody was at our camp, but it was just a nightmare, but I'm sure everybody's had that at some time.
I haven't ever thought that somebody is, cause I feel like we're pretty, we try to be far away from folks because we're pretty loud if we're being honest, but I've had multiple experiences where there's like a rabbit or a squirrel in the bushes and we're inside our tent already. And somebody's like, is that a bear? Like, hey, I think there's a bear outside our tent. Right. And it's not a bear. It could be, but it's not. And that's annoying when they wake you up for that. But the bigger concern I think is like, let's say that there really was that dude and you're like, guys, I need backup. And none of them, like, are you saying none of them got out of their
Nobody got out. Yeah. Nobody got out. I don't know if they were just like panic stricken and they were just hoping that that little thin, polyester you know, their tent was going to save them or something.
Right.
At least I was out there like defending the homeland.
I got you guys, even if you don't have my back. I got you guys. Yeah. Was that like a friendship ender scenario right there?
No, because one of the guys always reminds me of this every time I go hiking with him. And he'll tell everybody else who are with, hey, look out, Brad's going to have a night terror and he's going to scare us all. I'm like, thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. So it's okay.
Dude. Yeah. If you think about like the most popular movies in our culture, like you could just probably name any movie, any movie where, I don't know, any action-based movie, right? The end of the movie always is like somebody has somebody else's back. And it's like the happy ending, right? Whether it's like Han Solo coming back to help save Luke Skywalker or the Top Gun guys or whatever, right?
Right.
So as a culture, we value having each other's back. And so when your friends bail on you, I don't know, man, like that sounds like questionable friendship.
Not cool, but it's okay.
Yeah. Hey, you go backpack me. I got your back. I'll come out. I don't care if it's night terror. I'm coming out. I'm bringing my little 1-inch knife. I'm bringing a fistful of fury, and we're going to have at that dude or whatever fake dude's out there.
I'm going to count on it, and we got to go sometime.
Yeah. I got a thought on that here in a little bit. Okay, my last one. I don't know if it's worse than yours. I think it is. Like it's potentially worse than your bear spray incident because the ramifications of this mistake are horrific. And so I've taken full credit on this, and you can tell me if this is my fault or not. But
okay,
here's the scenario. So you're hanging out with your buddies around camp. There's a campfire going, and you want to go to bed. The rest of your buddies want to stay up. And you're the most experienced guy. Are you comfortable going to bed with the campfire still going, leaving it to your buddies to put it out?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I think most people are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. Did that not work out?
It did not. So I fell asleep, and then like 2 hours later, when everybody else was like in their tents and asleep, I hear a sound outside. I'm like, that sounds like the campfire is still going.
No.
And so they had tried to put it out, but they left some of the logs touching each other, which basically was able to dehydrate the wood. They didn't put enough water in there. And so it just started back up. And so it was like this ghost campfire where I come outside and like, I go up to my tent. And I'm like, dude, there's like nobody on this campfire. And it's going as if like, it's going full blaze as if people are sitting around it, but there's nobody sitting around it. And so it didn't get outside the ring, but the potential, is like forest fire, right? Like,
yeah.
And so I grabbed some water from the lake and put it out and drenched it and separated the wood and did my due diligence. But I was like, dude, that could have been horrendous.
Could have been bad. You could have been that guy that's at the forest on fire, or
Correct.
at least those guys.
Yeah. But as the trip leader, like I feel like the buck stops with me. So I think I take full responsibility, right? So anyway, all that to say that now either I'm giving over aggressive instructions on how to put the fire out and then double and triple checking, or I'm just the last person to go to, I'm always putting a fire out.
Yeah.
So
that's good. But it can happen, but hopefully somebody is there in the group that's kind of the fire guy. I always have like a fire guy. It's like,
we have a fire guy. He just starts, he doesn't put it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The fire guy. That's funny.
Like some guy, he's just like, I'm staying up all night and I'm messing with the fire till it goes out.
Right. That's I need to assign that person. They're the expert. But okay, so I got 2 bonus ones here. I actually looked up. I typed in like most famous backpackers, and then I tried to find out their blunders. And I found a couple. So are you familiar with Andrew Skirka?
Oh yeah. He's a legend. Yeah,
he is. And I literally just invited him on the show. So I'm hoping to get him on the show. So maybe I'll ask him about this. But according to the interwebs, his biggest mistake was just simply packing too much and not tailoring his gear to the trip. So he's not bringing, warm stuff on a cold weather trip or whatever. Or I think one other thing he said, he would try to go ultra light, but he would go like stupid light where he's just, ditching things he should have. So, what do you think about that?
I could see him doing that because he is ultralight. Like all the videos I've watched, like he carries virtually nothing. So I could see him being a little cold.
Yeah. I kind of want more from him though. Like he's backpacked so many miles. He's done so many trips. Surely he's made bigger blunders, whether it's, getting lost or, I don't know, taking a spill in a stream where he wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Who knows? He's like something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's too many. He's had too many like experiences that something had to go wrong other than just not having, one piece of gear that he needed or something.
Right. Come on, Skirka. So I'm going to if he comes on the show, I'm going to ask him about that. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. The other one was Jennifer Farr Davis. Are you familiar with her?
Oh yeah. Becoming Odessa. I read that book, her first trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her answer was really interesting because she just like was very authentic with her answer. I don't know if this is a blunder, but she viewed this as a blunder. She said that she used to have a superiority complex towards section hikers. So she being a thru hiker, she would like look down upon them as like not real backpackers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that from her. Especially
Maybe she
like
didn't portray it, but that's what she was thinking.
Yeah. Cause especially in her Becoming Odessa book, it's a wonderful read, when her first thru hiking, but she was humbled so many times, in that book that I would have thought she would have been like, oh yeah, see it for what, but at least she admitted that. That's pretty cool.
It is cool. And I just, I wonder, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the opposite can be true. Like backpackers looking down upon the thru hikers that smell like trash and urine and aren't really like even setting up shelters anymore. They just kind of roll around in a tarp to go to bed.
just that close to sheer homelessness.
I mean, that's what they are, right? Like for a period of time. So yeah. Another guy on the list who couldn't find his blunder, but I just found it interesting. Like top 14 famous backpackers was like Jim or John Mackey. He used to be the CEO of Whole Foods.
Oh,
and I didn't realize he was like a famous backpacker, but it'd be kind of interesting to have on. So I don't know. I thought about asking him, like, could you go to Whole Foods and like, let's say for a 4-day backpacking trip, like buy up all the food you need for 4 days for under $1,000?
I was going to say like $3,000.
Okay. I mean, I'll invite him and I'll ask him that question. If
that's a good one.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so hopefully there's some blunders that you can connect with, or you can simply just can judge us about for the horribleness that we have. Yeah. But either way, as you can tell, like they provided some good stories, and in the end, we survived. So there you go. Yeah. All right. I've got historical blunder trivia for you coming up right after this. Crow, I've got historical blunder trivia for you, and you got to get 2 out of 3 correct to win. And if you win, I'm going to send you your favorite freeze-dried meal. Ooh. So do you have one in mind for that?
Yes.
What do you got?
The Peak chicken pesto pasta.
I like that one too. Okay. Yeah. That's coming your way.
Dang.
If you win.
If I win.
Yeah. If you win. If you lose, here's the potential consequence here is I would like you to seriously consider coming on one of my next. I'm going to give you like 4 trip options, and you got to seriously consider coming on one of those. Okay.
That doesn't sound like a bad loss consequence. I'll go.
But I've thrown this out to a few folks that have come on our show, and they're like, oh yeah, of course. Like, yeah, just sign me up. And then we've had a few folks come, but for the most part, it's just, lip service. So when I say seriously consider, what is that like a legal term? Like what legally binding verbal contract can we have that to make you seriously consider it? Like you got to look at your calendar. You got to see if you can take the days off if it requires that.
You'd have to have it in writing to have any weight. Verbal contract.
We're recording this, so is this not
good? True. The recording would probably hold weight in court.
Okay, because I will sue for this. Like I definitely.
Okay.
And I'll represent myself, and I probably won't get the case thrown out within a couple minutes, but you never know.
Yeah, I always tell people that try to go pro se that you never have a fool like representing yourself as a lawyer. That you should never represent yourself.
Okay, well, that's fair. All right, number 1, the Chernobyl nuclear disaster happened in 1986. What country did this happen in?
Ooh, it's either Ukraine or Russia. And I don't know when let's see. I'm going to say Russia.
Okay. It was part of the Soviet Union at the time, so I'll take it right there. So,
Okay.
Yeah, Ukraine is correct. Yeah, you're on the right track.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of Russia, number 2, Russia sold a piece of land for $7.2 million in 1867. This is not a good deal. This is a blunder. What is this land called today?
Is that Alaska?
Alaska. Correct. He already passed for me. Look at that. Look how easy that was. All right. Bonus question number 3. This is one I actually learned about when I was researching this. True or false? Blockbuster Video could have purchased Netflix early on for $50 million.
Dude, if that's true, that is a blunder. I mean, it seemed like I would have heard of that, but
right.
I'm going to say false.
I had the same thought. I would have heard of that, but no, it is true.
It's true.
They had a meeting, and the arrogant Blockbuster executives like laughed Netflix out there, like, this is a fad. Like, you want to sell to us? Like, get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll learn something tonight. Yeah.
I just think that anytime you bring arrogance into a meeting, like you have a lot more than go wrong. So,
God, they should have been thinking ahead. I mean,
well, yeah. You don't really know what the future is going to hold, but just the fact that maybe you can still say no, but I guess they kind of mocked Netflix out of the room, and obviously that's a corporation now. Okay.
Wow.
All right. We've been talking some lawyer stuff. So in the tidbit section, I got a couple things here. First, I wanted to run some lawyer TV shows and movies by you, and you already said that you're not a big fan of watching lawyer stuff since that's your job. Is that correct?
I don't watch it. Yeah, especially like crime dramas. Oh, I can't stand crime stuff because that's all I see.
Okay, so but you've had to have seen a few lawyer things, right?
I mean, I probably know what they are. Maybe I've seen snippets of it, but
I want to know how accurate it is to real life. All right, so how about Suits? Have you seen Suits?
You know, I have watched a number of Suits because my wife and son watched it and they loved it.
Okay. And
I would just get up and get out of the room every time. I mean, I watched some of it and then I'd leave.
Because it's uncomfortable or because it's accurate or inaccurate? What's the situation?
I don't know. I have this thing that I call that we used to watch Yellowstone, and everybody's on 10 in Yellowstone all the time. They're always like hyped up on 10, you know?
Right.
And so Suits, it's like everything's on 10 all the time and everything's so super, you know, and that I just don't think that that's the way law is, especially when they'd go to criminal court and they would just have this soliloquy. I mean, I know it's acting and you got to do it, but they'd have this soliloquy and you're like, no judge is going to let you talk like that for 20 minutes.
Okay. Whatever. So not as accurate.
Not as accurate. Right.
But the whole, like, they're on 10 all the time. Like, they're just showing like snippets of conversation. So, you know, like theoretically they could like calm down for a minute afterwards or beforehand.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, shows like Yellowstone I have a hard time with because the dude that writes those shows like intentionally makes all of his characters unlikable, like evil. And then you're sort of like forced to root for them or like they get semi-redeemed, but they're still doing horrific things. And so I've just had to, I can't watch that stuff. So anyway, what about My Cousin Vinny? Is that pretty accurate?
My Cousin Vinny? Yeah. Since it's set in Alabama and that's where I'm from. No, not even close. It's just so like, it's just so not the way court is, but I don't know, but it was a good movie though. I really liked it. Yeah.
Did you? Okay. All right. Yeah. I won't keep picking on you, but just interesting to get your perspective. So
yeah, no problem.
All right. Last tidbit is what's coming up on the As the Crow Flies YouTube channel, Instagram. Like, what do you got coming up? What's coming out? What can you look forward to?
Well, I did the Pinhoti Trail a while back, a few months ago. And so I've just now I had a backlog of videos. So I've just now gotten to that series. So this Saturday, I'll start like episode 1 of that and take you through the whole Alabama portion of the Pinhoti, which I'd never done, you know, in its entirety. I've done mostly all the sections, but so that was fun. And I had a good time making those videos. I was by myself, so it was fun. So
when you say episodes, like, is there drama? Like, are you on 10 the whole time or what can we expect here?
Yeah, it's like a Yellowstone thing. Like I'm, you know, No, it's
Is there a scenario where we're in a junction and you're pointing your finger aggressively at somebody else with a loud voice?
Yes, and taking people to the railroad station or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it's just like each day I did a video, so
Okay.
I just like broke it up into each day, so it was a lot of fun to do that.
All right. So if somebody who wants to do the trail, maybe they're going to watch through the series to kind of get an idea what they can expect. And
I would hope so, because that's how I kind of did it. It's like, hey, if you ever want to come see the Pinhoti Trail in Alabama, which is a wonderful trail, half of it's in Alabama, half of it's in Georgia. And so I just did the Alabama portion. It took me 10 days. And so that was a lot of fun. And I just kind of march you through the sections and tell you what to expect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we can look forward to that coming out. And I'll have links in our show description. So, Mr. As the Crow Flies, thank you so much for co-hosting this show. It's always a pleasure and an honor, and I hope we can do this more frequently.
Appreciate it, man. That was a lot of fun getting to talk about blunders. That was great. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a great week, and God bless.
I want to fly.